The conflict involving Iran, the United States, and Israel has entered one of its most volatile and consequential phases in recent memory, with a sharp escalation that is reshaping the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East. What began as a series of targeted strikes and retaliatory actions has now evolved into a sustained multi-front confrontation that is drawing in regional actors, threatening global energy stability, and raising serious concerns about the possibility of a broader war.
The latest flashpoint came on March 27th when Iran launched a coordinated missile and drone attack on Prince Sultan Air Base, a major U.S. military installation in Saudi Arabia. The strike marked a significant escalation, not only because of the scale and coordination involved, but also because of the strategic importance of the target.
The base serves as a critical hub for American military operations in the region, supporting surveillance, refueling, and command missions across multiple theaters. According to U.S. officials, the attack resulted in injuries to at least a dozen American service members, with 2 reported to be in serious condition. The strike also caused damage to key military assets, including aerial refueling aircraft that are essential for sustaining long-range air operations. Early reports indicated that at least 2 refueling planes were hit, while additional assessments suggested that a high-value airborne command and control aircraft may have also been affected. Satellite imagery circulating shortly after the attack appeared to confirm visible damage to aircraft stationed at the base. These images, while still being analyzed, reinforce concerns about the vulnerability of even heavily defended military installations to coordinated missile and drone strikes. The significance of this attack lies not only in the immediate damage it caused, but also in what it reveals about Iran's current military capabilities. Despite weeks of sustained bombardment by U.S. and Israeli forces, Iran has demonstrated that it retains the ability to conduct complex, long-range strikes against high-value targets. This challenges the narrative that its military has been decisively neutralized. The attack on Prince Sultan Air Base is part of a broader pattern of Iranian retaliation following Israeli strikes on its nuclear facilities and U.S. operations targeting its military infrastructure. Over the past several weeks, Iran has expanded its response beyond Israel to include U.S. bases and allied countries across the Gulf region. Missiles and drones have been launched toward multiple countries, including Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Kuwait, and Oman. This widening scope of targets suggests a deliberate strategy by Iran to increase pressure on both the United States and its regional partners. By targeting multiple countries simultaneously, Tehran appears to be signaling that the conflict is not confined to a single front, but has become a broader regional confrontation. At the same time, the attacks highlight the evolving nature of modern warfare. Iran's use of drones and missiles allows it to project power across long distances without relying on traditional military deployments. These weapons are relatively difficult to intercept, particularly when launched in large numbers, and can overwhelm even advanced air defense systems. The continued effectiveness of these tactics underscores the challenges faced by the United States and its allies in attempting to neutralize Iran's military capabilities. While significant damage may have been inflicted on Iran's infrastructure, the persistence of these attacks suggests that its operational capacity remains intact to a considerable degree. Amid this escalating conflict, Donald Trump has maintained a firm stance, emphasizing the success of U.S. military operations and framing the campaign as a decisive effort to eliminate Iran's ability to threaten regional stability. In a recent address, he stated, "This morning I want to give an update on the Operation Epic Fury. We are absolutely obliterating them." He went on to describe the extent of the damage inflicted on Iran's military, saying, "We've wiped out their Navy completely, their Air Force completely, and we've knocked out probably close to 90% of the launchers." These remarks present a picture of overwhelming success, suggesting that Iran's ability to wage war has been severely compromised. Trump also emphasized the strategic objective of preventing Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons, stating, "You cannot give lunatics a nuclear weapon." This argument has been a central justification for the ongoing military campaign, reflecting long-standing concerns about Iran's nuclear ambitions. However, the continued ability of Iran to launch coordinated attacks raises questions about the accuracy of these claims. If Iran's military has indeed been largely neutralized, as suggested, then its capacity to carry out such strikes would be expected to be significantly diminished. The fact that it continues to do so suggests a more complex reality. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth echoed the president's confidence, stating, "Never in recorded history has a nation's military been so quickly and so effectively neutralized." He described the operation as a decisive campaign with clear objectives rather than than an open-ended conflict. According to Hegseth, the U.S. military has achieved remarkable success in a short period of time, destroying thousands of targets and significantly degrading Iran's capabilities. He stated over 10,000 enemy targets destroyed, over 150 naval vessels sunk. Yet, despite these claims, the situation on the ground suggests that the conflict is far from over. Iran continues to launch attacks, and its missile and drone arsenal remains a significant threat. Military analysts note that even a weakened force can continue to conduct asymmetric warfare, particularly when equipped with weapons that are difficult to intercept and can be deployed rapidly. The gap between official statements and battlefield developments has become increasingly evident. While U.S. officials emphasize success, the persistence of Iranian attacks indicates that the conflict is entering a more complex and protracted phase. The human cost of the conflict is also becoming increasingly apparent. Since the start of hostilities, hundreds of U.S. personnel have been wounded and multiple fatalities have been reported. While many of the injured have returned to duty, the continued attacks highlight the risks faced by troops deployed in the region. Beyond the immediate impact on military personnel, the conflict is having broader consequences for the region. The targeting of key infrastructure, including military bases and potentially energy facilities, has raised concerns about the stability of global energy markets. Disruptions to shipping routes and production facilities could have far-reaching economic implications. Regional countries are also facing increased pressure as they navigate the evolving conflict. Some have strengthened their defenses, while others are considering their level of involvement. The risk of further escalation remains high, particularly if additional countries become directly involved. Diplomatic efforts to resolve the conflict remain uncertain. While President Trump suggested that Iran is seeking negotiations, stating they are begging to make a deal. Not me. They're begging to make a deal. There is little public evidence to confirm that meaningful talks are underway. This uncertainty reflects the broader challenge of balancing military action with diplomatic engagement. Both sides appear to be pursuing their objectives through a combination of force and signaling, making it difficult to determine the likelihood of a negotiated resolution. The conflict also highlights deeper geopolitical dynamics, including long-standing rivalries and strategic interests in the region. The involvement of multiple actors, each with their own objectives, adds complexity to an already volatile situation. From a strategic perspective, the attack on Prince Sultan Air Base underscores several key realities. First, Iran retains the ability to conduct coordinated strikes despite sustained bombardment. Second, U.S. bases remain vulnerable, even those equipped with advanced defense systems. Third, the conflict is expanding geographically, increasing the risk of further escalation. These developments suggest that the conflict is unlikely to be resolved quickly. Instead, it may continue to evolve, with periods of intense fighting interspersed with attempts at negotiation. The broader implications of the conflict extend beyond the Middle East. The involvement of major powers and the potential impact on global energy markets mean that the situation is being closely watched around the world. Any further escalation could have significant consequences for international stability. As the conflict continues, the gap between rhetoric and reality remains a key issue. While leaders emphasize success and progress, the persistence of attacks and the ongoing risks faced by military personnel suggest a more complicated picture. The March 27 strike serves as a stark reminder that the conflict is far from resolved. It demonstrates that even after weeks of intense military operations, neither side has achieved decisive dominance. Instead, the situation remains fluid, with both sides continuing to adapt and respond to developments on the ground. In many ways, the conflict reflects the changing nature of warfare in the modern era. The use of drones, missiles, and other advanced technologies allows states to continue fighting even after suffering significant losses. This makes it more difficult to achieve clear victories and increases the likelihood of prolonged conflicts. At the same time, the human and economic costs of the conflict continue to grow. The longer the fighting continues, the greater the impact on the region and the world. Ultimately, the trajectory of the conflict will depend on a range of factors, including military developments, diplomatic efforts, and the actions of regional and global actors. What is clear, however, is that the situation remains highly volatile and unpredictable. As leaders on all sides continue to present their narratives, the reality on the ground tells a more nuanced story, one of resilience, escalation, and uncertainty. The conflict is ongoing, the risks are increasing, and the outcome remains far from certain. The coming weeks will be critical in determining whether the situation stabilizes or escalates further. For now, the Middle East remains on edge, with the potential for further confrontation looming large.